What's going on, guys? We have a new arrival here. This is a 1995 Honda Shadow VLX 600. So yeah, definitely a 600cc engine on a V-twin Shadow here. 95. The complaint on this bike is it doesn't crank. So first thing I did, I already went over it. I already know what the problem is, but I'll show you what I did here. So they put a brand new battery in it. So I brought the bike home, put the charger on it. Battery's looking like it has a full charge because this has sat for a year or two, maybe. So we're gonna hope that the carbs are fine in this case. And yeah, so anyway, threw the charger on the battery and we're gonna see what happens here. Okay, I've already gone over it. I already know what's gonna happen. So let's see, got keys here. Here's the ignition. So stick the key in, turn it on. Now, oh, that's right. I have something disconnected. Let me hook that back up and I'll join you. All right, let's try this again. Key, ignition's on. We have lights on the dashboard. Neutral down here. Oil lights on, side stand is down. So, yep, that's true. Horn works just fine. Turn signals are blinky. Front, rear. See that? Check the other side. This switch is kind of sticky, so that's gonna have to be worked on. Indicator light is working. Front is working. Rear is working. We are good in the turn signal situation. Turn that off. High and low beams. Low, high. That's good. Yep, okay. So everything's functioning there. Next. So that wasn't a complaint. We do have some gas in it, but not much. So I'm gonna set the fuel petcock to reserve because I don't know if it's gonna pick up on the main. Did that already. Choke is here, but I'm just gonna show you. Look, hit the start button, got nothing. Now I do know that it's working because it draws power when you hit it. So it pulls power out of the bike. So that's the complaint. You got nothing. Turn that off for a minute. First thing I did is, if it's not cranking but you have power, you know your main circuit is fine. So your main fuse is probably fine, which I did check. Your main fuse is gonna sit right in here. So here's your starter solenoid. This little cylinder looking thingy with a battery line, a line coming from the battery, and that passes through here. So this thing's gonna help. It's like a switch to tell your starter to spin. So it's taking power from the battery into your starter solenoid. When it gets power through there, it tells the starter to spin. So your main fuse sits under there. I did check it, it's fine. So that's the first thing. But if that was blown, you wouldn't have power to the bike anywhere. Next thing, check connections. This connector was disconnected. I don't even need to know or question what that's attaching, but it does run down here to the fuse box. So if that was disconnected, you'd probably have problems. So I connected again. All this is torn out because we had to get to the battery, but that'll have to be situated at some point. So okay, if you have power to the bike, but it's not cranking when you hit the start button, but you can tell the start button's doing something because it is draining power, the next thing I'm gonna do is, you may not wanna do this, maybe you do, I don't know. I'm gonna jump these two connectors. And that's gonna tell me if the solenoid is working or not, because you're just connecting power. As I said, this is a switch that tells the starter to spin. Well, you can jump over the switch by connecting these two connectors. So you may not wanna do this. You can make some sparks, and I may not wanna do it holding my phone, but let's do it anyway. So right now, we're just gonna check this for, see if I can connect this. And you don't wanna touch anything else metal. Just touch these two connectors now. Are you ready for this? This is gonna scare you if you're not ready for it. Check that out. That tells me either the starter solenoid is not getting the signal it needs, or the starter solenoid is bad. So there you go. We are cranking. So let's just do this for a second. Give it. Like I said, there is some gas in there. Hopefully it's not bad gas, which it probably is. But hopefully we can turn choke on. This is on reserve, and maybe we can get this thing to start firing a little bit. Let's see what happens. It is in neutral, so we're good. Here we go. See what happens. All right, well, that should have fired by now if we're getting fuel. So at this point, this is just an introduction to this bike. I'm gonna turn the power off so we don't drain it. You keep cranking like that. If I had another hand, I might give it some gas, try and push that through. The other thing is to spray some starter fluid, help it to get cranked. So I might do that. You want to open up your air box, which I haven't even looked for yet. It's gonna be under there. So maybe I'll grab some ether and spray in there, see if I can get it to kick. And that'll at least tell me the bike is willing to start. You don't want this stuff laying on the hot pipes or anything. So yeah, next step, probably take this off, pull out the air filter, spray some starting fluid in there, see if it'll crank. Well, it'll crank, see if it'll fire. Then we know it's a fuel delivery issue, and the starting system will be fine. So that's where we're at with this bike. I guess I should show you what the actual problem is now that you saw that it does crank. It's pretty hot. Well, let me show you something. I pulled off the connector here for the starter solenoid, and I think I found the problem. This is all fried. That's not gonna start your bike, guys. So if that's not making a connection, a clean connection, it's gonna be not interested in firing. So right there's your main fuse. That's the one that would, if that was blown, you're not getting any power to the bike. This is pretty hot right now. Keep cranking it, you're probably gonna burn this up. So anyway, this is probably my issue. That is nasty. It's all melted and hot. I don't know why that's bad, but what I'm gonna have to do is probably splice in a new connector here, because that needs to be secure and in good shape. So this is probably my issue. I'm still gonna try and start it because it is connecting power on the other side. So I should be able to make this thing run without doing this yet, but I'm gonna have to steal this off of another bike or something. Hopefully I have one floating around. If not, this is part of the wiring harness, so it's gonna be a pain in the butt to replace it, but that's what we're gonna have to do. And then this thing should be fixed. So it has sat, so it might need carbs cleaned out, might need new gas. I can't see any gas in there. The tank looks okay, but until you get it fired, you don't exactly know what kind of shape that's in. So, all right, dug out the air cleaner. Yeah, the air filter here. That has a couple Phillips head bolts on it. It's pretty dirty, but it's fine. And then the cover here has a 5mm Allen key. You're gonna need something like that. And here's the bracket that goes over, that holds the air cleaner in, or the filter, whatever. Looking at this bike, I don't know, these are definitely forward controls. That, I don't know where this would have sat before, but that seems really far forward. Doesn't look factory to me, but maybe it is. I'm not sure where these controls would sit otherwise. But anyway, just noticing that. I did crank it, spraying some starting fluid down here. This goes right to the carburetor, and it started to fire. So I went ahead and put some gas in the tank, and I can do this with one hand. So let's see if we can get this thing to fire up. Just gonna go over here and turn the key. It is on choke, isn't it? Yeah, I still have the choke on. Turn the key on. As I said, still in neutral, so it's not gonna try and take off on me. Now I can't turn the throttle, so if this doesn't fire, I'll have to focus on that, but let's see if we can get it fired, see if gas flows. Here we go. There she is. I don't want to turn it that much. Let me see if I can work the throttle a little bit, get this thing to fire up, and then I'll show you if it's running. Okay, so while she will kind of try to start, she's not completely starting up. So I drained the battery down, so we're back to charging the battery again. So it's not always as simple as it may seem in the beginning. With me jumping this starter solenoid, that could easily be how it got fried in the first place. Somebody else might have done that and got it real hot. And that might be why my connector's fried. Because that could get really hot if you just keep cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking. So again, I do need to address this. That's obviously not working. And I guess the next step is, even though I just put gas in the tank, if gas is not coming out of the tank into the carburetors, it's not gonna fire. So next thing I'm gonna have to do is pull the tank off and run an outside gas tank into the carburetors directly. And if I can get it to fire, feeding gas directly to the carbs, it's probably debris or something in the gas tank that is not letting gas to flow. So that could easily be from sitting too. Gas collects in the bottom of the tank, and then you don't get good flow from the gas tank. There's filters in the petcock here, so they could get jammed up. And since I just put a good bit of gas in there, I shouldn't have a problem. So that's where we're at on this. I will pull that. That'll help me figure out, diagnose if I'm not getting fuel flow. So that'll be for another video. Let you know if I can get this fired again. The battery's charging back up, and we'll see where we go from there. So catch up for the next one. More on the Shadow, more on other bikes. Get out and ride. Have a great day.